Still adjusting lighting.
We're live right now.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone watching me adjust my lighting.
Your lighting is awesome. Mine
Oh,
is
thanks.
like, I don't know what's going on with my lighting today.
I'm
you?
just as professional.
You changed your background, at least from the last time that I saw you.
Yeah, I have a new house. I'm wearing like 3 layers of clothes because it's very cold and I don't have everything adjusted yet. But yeah, scenery is going to change often.
We are going to give you extra points for doing this live stream while you're cold.
You might see my breath.
Hey, Chris is here. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris. We're waiting for Paul. Paul should be joining shortly. So while we do that, we're going to go through our usual introductions for people who may not be familiar with who we are. So let's start, ladies first. Let's start with Heather.
Okay. I'm Running Geek Girl. My actual name is Heather. But yeah, my channel is Running Geek Girl. And since I'm kind of a mid to back of the pack runner, I'm still just kind of, I've been running maybe about 6 years, and I'm still just kind of exploring what all I can do, working on, some speed and working on some different distances. And so that's what a lot of my channel is about, is just kind of getting information out as I learn it, because I know I didn't have a lot of resources for information when I first started. And so I'm trying to help people out who are maybe just kind of trying to figure things out in the whole running world. So that's my channel.
Hello, everybody. I'm Brian from Rasa Runs. I am the ultra runner of the group. I do 100Ks, 100 milers. It's starting to be wintertime in my area, so I'm sort of on the low end of running and a little bit more on working out. But my channel is with running tech and adventure stuff. So we have no format on the channel. It's pretty chaotic in the winter season as I develop next year's goals and stuff like that. But yeah, come check out it. Do a lot of computer tech and running stuff. So,
and I'll put the links to everybody below. I'm gonna add Paul because he just joined. I can see him
here.
Hi, Paul.
How's it going?
Oh, look at the new view. You can see how cluttered my shit is in the background.
You actually, do you know what you look like? I don't know if you're a fan of Star Wars, but it's very Star Warsy. You know, like the light in the back.
I'm definitely more on the Sith Lord side than.
I was about to say that's kind of a Sith look you're going with.
Maybe I'll go red.
You need that red face from.
Oh, there it is.
Cool.
Cool. We were introducing ourselves, Paul. So you're next.
Okay. Oh, wow. Cool. Perfect timing, right?
You did it.
So let's see. I'm Paul. I'm the host of the Dev Runner channel on YouTube. And yeah, and you can find me on Instagram at the Dev Runner, and you can find me on on Strava as Paul DeVillo. I don't know if you guys, are we talking about like what we're up to lately, or?
No, we haven't.
We did give generics. We didn't go hardcore into the channels.
Okay, cool. All right. Just making sure I'm getting up to speed here.
Yeah, we have someone watching from Maryland.
Yeah, look at the UK people we got.
Yeah,
Hola.
for the ultra event.
Y'all are up late.
Yeah, Chris is up very late because it's 11 in the UK. So I guess.
Yeah, I start work at 11 p.m.
So they changed the time in Europe already, like in the UK, and because it's only 4 hours away. So they changed it. They're changing the time tonight, like this weekend.
Daylight savings time.
Ours is Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome for me. I'm going to
extra hour of sleep.
So, Susie, I Run Things is my channel. I am Real I Run Things on Twitter and Instagram. And I also have a podcast that I was very active with during COVID. And now I just don't, I got to be honest, I don't have time to keep up with everything.
It's time consuming.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like drinking from a fire hose, you guys. It's, yeah, especially because you want to be active and engaged with the people that support you, and comment on your channel and send you messages and emails and PMs. So as of late, I just don't know how people who are really big on YouTube actually do it all.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
Very
Because
difficult.
I only have 2 hands. Like, I can't type that fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my life, I work almost every day. I'm usually like 12 days on, 2 days off, and I have big plans for my days off. Like, I want to bulk load. Like, I have a list of ideas and outlines, and like I have tons of footage of stuff. And when I get my days off, it's like, yeah, I'm going to sleep. So, like, especially now, we spoke in the past, I have like seasonal depression, and now that it's dark, like all the time, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I just, this year's been way better. I changed my nutrition and stuff like that. So things aren't as bad, but like, just worn out. For Susie, you've been like banging stuff out this whole month. Like,
Yeah.
good for you. Cause I'm like, yeah, man, keep it up. Cause like I'm laying on my side in TikTok and looking at YouTube, not creating for the last month or so. I feel
That's
you.
something I wanted to talk about, because I feel like with COVID, life got more complicated, not easier. Like, I feel like I'm always on right now. Like, before COVID, I had the opportunity to interact with people. Like, I would interact face to face with clients of mine. So I would have conversations, and now everything is online. So I feel like I am online for YouTube, online with my clients. It's like I don't have an opportunity to really disconnect like I used to before in the past.
Your
So I don't know if you
avatar
guys-
is constantly up.
Yeah, it's like it's always FaceTime. Like, I'm always interacting with the screen, whether for work or for YouTube. So it's been an interesting couple, I don't know, year and a half. I don't know if you guys are experiencing the same thing.
I think very much so.
My-
Go ahead.
Yeah, my world isn't totally digital. Like, I work with like people and manufacturing and stuff. So like,
Good for you though, because it's a blessing.
Yeah. I still keep my distance. I'm actually like a loud person in person, but at work, I wear a helmet and a mask, and I keep my head down, and I really keep to myself. I used to be the boss forever until like this past job. Now I'm not the boss, which is fantastic. So like, I just keep to myself. And digitally, it's just the social media stuff for me. So, and when I do my running, like when I have people around, that's my only communication to the human world. So, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, and we have different perspectives on life. I mean, all 4 of us are running. We're runners, and that's how we know each other. But I think we all bring different things, because I work from home, and I am doing a lot of Zoom meetings right now. And I think, Paul, you probably are too, because your world and my world kind of are similar.
Exactly. But get this, Susie. If you had said that sentence that last week, I would have been in like living the same life as you. But a couple of weeks ago, we've been called back into the office. Like, so, but here's just the weirdest thing about it. I have to drive down to the city every day. I'm now going through $60 worth of gas a week to get there and back. And the thing is, I get there, I get to my little workstation, and then I turn on Skype, FaceTime, and all that stuff. And I meet with the people who are 30 feet away from me in the other cubicle, like on the screen. So I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like I'm constantly meeting by way of screen, but with people who I could go and tap on the shoulder.
And all those meetings that could have been solved in an email.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like that in other countries. Is it just America that like we screw ourselves and tie ourselves to the corporate world, that we actually go to the office to open up a virtual conference?
I know in Europe, because I still, and many people maybe don't know this, but I've had two lives really, because I lived in Europe till I was 34, and then I moved here. So 34, you're mature enough to, I did all my college education there. I had my son there. I married there the first time I married. And then I worked there for 13 years. So I worked for an organization we had subsidiaries in Europe. So I still keep in touch with my old coworkers. They're all back in the office, they love it. Like, because they lost that opportunity to interact. So now they're all back. So no, I think Europe is very much.
Do they go back and do they go on virtual meetings, or are they in conference room meetings?
They're in conference room meetings. Yeah. So
Wow.
some companies have mask restrictions, but not all of them. So, so that's what I know. Again, it could be that, because my world, like I know the people that I used to work with, a lot of them are still with the same company. So, they're back to work, back in like traffic jams, and it's interesting. So I think, sometimes for the sake of efficiency, like here in the United States, we like to be efficient. That's how we measure our success, I think, like productivity. And so I think, we're still, it's like, okay, let's just get it over with. Like, let's just get everything done. And let's just be productive. So, yeah.
I'm looking forward to early next year. We get to work from home again. So
Nice.
we're going through a period of let's all gel. Let's all get in the same place and get to know each other again after COVID. And everybody's like, I know you well enough. I'm going home.
I don't want to know you better. I know
Exactly.
I know you enough.
And I know for you, Heather, you've been, obviously you have little younger kids than I do, that we all do, I think. So are you still home, like homeschooling one of your children?
Yes. I have one that she's in a private pre-K where they had to, they have to do negative COVID tests to get in. All the teachers there are vaccinated and wear masks and everything. So, it's a very small class. So we're feeling pretty confident with that there, with her being safe. But my older one, I'm still teaching him at home, and we have a virtual online academy that our district has a deal with. And so I have to sit down and, I teach his school for him based off of the lesson plans that they have set up. And then he meets every day with a teacher to go over a lesson so that he's still interacting with kids from all over the U.S. And I think once numbers go down a little more, and I think once we're able to get him vaccinated, then we'll take another look at possibly getting him in school. So that'll change up my schedule in a big way. But
Right.
Did you homeschool before COVID?
no, we didn't.
My daughter has Crohn's. She's 17 now, but she was a high level gymnast growing up, like for her age and stuff. So because of the Crohn's and the gymnastics, which is like a college tuition, like that's a lifestyle that we spend way too much money and time on. But she was phenomenal, especially for her age and stuff. We homeschooled her, and we were fortunate enough that I made enough money that my wife could stay home. My wife's highly more educated than I am, and she was like, "Yeah, I have to relearn like everything," because my daughter, even in the younger grades, my wife would be like, "Do you know this?" And I'm like, "I'm sure I learned it." Like I have no clue. And my wife, she was awesome. She learned so much, relearned so much stuff, and was able to help regurgitate it back in education wasn't her background. So, but she was able to help. And then same thing, we get things sent to us, and we'd go over everything, and there'd be like a counselor teacher for each class that she would have to like Skype with and stuff like that. And this was years before the pandemic. And then she went back to school. And then when the pandemic happened, she was like, whatever. So we did the
when I got
homeschooling
out
again
of
for a little bit.
teaching, And when I got out of teaching, I didn't think I'd ever use my education degree again, but here we are, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm lucky that you know, I had that background, so that worked out a lot. But
Right.
you know,
So
he
that
does need to, you know, he does want to be around more kids, but we just, you know, with the high risk people that I come into contact with every day, I have, you know, parents that are elderly that, you know, I'm in contact with constantly. And I didn't want to take the risk of anybody being exposed to something that could be really detrimental. And so we just kind of played overly cautious, but, you know, we've all stayed healthy, knock on wood.
It's
So
good.
things have worked out. Yeah.
Yeah, the world's on fire.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
Totally.
that brings me to kind of my next bullet point that I wanted to talk to today. So what would you have done if you couldn't run? Like if you were not runners,
Oh,
what
boy.
would have happened? Have you ever thought about that? Because I have, like in my mind, it's like if I
Yeah.
had to have been able, if I wasn't able to go out and run and just enjoy time outside, all these being in like in a tight, you know, like, I mean, my house is not,
Oh, yeah.
I can't complain. It's a big house, but you know, it's like being in your house in the same four walls constantly. So I think I would have been like extremely unhappy, to be honest with you. I think running just made my life better.
Definitely.
Yep.
Yeah.
On the dark side of things, running like saved me. Like I was an alcoholic and stuff like that after military, and that just like tons of crazies and depression and stupid stuff. If I didn't find running, I would not be here. So like that's it in a nutshell. That put me on a path to where my mind started to clear up a little bit, and I found more value in life. And then when I did ultra running and like mountain adventures and stuff like that, to where it became more spiritual. And because when you're like some of the things like and ultras, they say that you don't fully find yourself until you run a full 24-hour like event. After 24 hours, that's when like you see the sunrise for the second time and stuff like that, to where there's a lot of soul searching because you're hitting the wall 1 million times, not just at mile 17, like in a marathon. Not to downgrade. I don't like marathons.
Yeah.
They're way too fast for me. Like much respect to all marathon people. But like you hit those peaks and valleys like several times. So you're really working through like your core soul, you know, when you're running on that stuff. So without running, like I was into martial arts a lot, but that's too much like fire, I think. Not enough, I don't know, not enough Zen that I needed. So without running, I probably wouldn't be here. I would have been a mess. So yeah, especially through the pandemic, you know, like I ran a couple 100-mile weeks because I was able to.
Right,
you know?
right. I always say
there's been times when I've been on a really long run and it's right when I hit the wall and I'm tired, I'm sore, I don't want to do this anymore. And always my first thought is, why am I even doing this? And
Definitely.
finally the thought always comes back of, because I get to.
right.
Yeah, I can.
And then I just keep going. I'm able to do this, I might as well do it.
Yeah.
If you don't question yourself in your races of doing that, there's something wrong. There's
Right.
every ultra, you have to blip in your head of, what the hell am I doing? You know, why am I doing this? But when you're done, you're like, damn, I'm so glad. Like,
because you always think to yourself, you know, I could just stop. I could just not do this.
Nobody's holding a gun to my head, right? Yeah. But once you complete that thing that was like inconceivable, you know.
Exactly. I think you just hit
what
it
a
on
great
the head.
reward.
Exactly. I think that's when it gets really rough out there. I think that's what makes the difference, is when you think to yourself, but if I actually pull this off,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, what a great
If
story
I
I'm
don't
going to have.
die.
Exactly.
Just
Well,
joking.
that was like my first.
That's how it goes.
Well, like my first trail race. It was 2 loops before it went back almost straight uphill, and um, lots of ups and downs, and the trail was a lot more technical than I was used to. I was doing some stream crossings, which I'd only done a few times before. So, trying to not slip and die. And after I was getting close to the end of that first loop, and I thought to myself, I could just head back to the start. And I got to the aid station at the beginning end of the loop, got something to drink and everything, and everybody telling me, "You're doing great, you're doing great." And I was like, "Yeah, I am. I'm going to keep going." So I
Get to the
could have
next aid
stopped,
station.
but
Yeah.
just keep going. The people at aid
Yeah,
stations are angels.
my first ever trail race was World's End 100K, which is like my go-to favorite race. Highly technical, had zero clue about trail. I've only run it a few times, but I had a 50-mile qualifier that I was able to get into the 100K. It was my first trail ever, and I was out there for hours by myself, crossing streams that were like knee deep, and I was like, no way, dude, this has to be wrong. Like, I never ran through a stream before. I thought that was like insane, but I DNF'd. I got 50 miles on that, but like still that's
But dang, 50 miles,
Yeah,
oh
exactly.
yeah, I was highly proud. I was really like out of my element, and like that was like such an awakening. Like, people do this. Like, I was supposed to go through the streams, like that was crazy. Just the mentality of it. Now, like, I'm a child. I skip through it and
Yeah,
try
I
not to
would
die.
say when things get really hard in a race or in a run, you better like yourself, because you're with yourself. Like, it's you and what you're thinking of, and you better be at peace with yourself. That's why, in a way, it's so karmatic. When you're running out there, and it's like, I don't know, it makes you work through your feelings.
Yeah.
Because
I work through things.
Yeah, right now, I think in our lives we're too used to just, if something's wrong, you take a pill. If you don't like your face, you go get surgery. You can fix anything
Yeah, or
pretty
just to walk
quickly.
away from it. Yeah.
So
Right.
when you're running out there,
Hard to fix this for sure.
Yeah.
when you're running out there and you're by yourself, even if you're running a race and surrounded by people, it's like, okay, I have to work through what I'm feeling right now. Like, I'm in pain, I'm hating life, I am like crying, whatever it is. You actually have to sit through it and see it, like, just work your way out of that. So
That's usually when I tell myself, I've been through worse.
right. Yeah. There's no way out of it.
I always tell myself, this is the worst anything's ever been. That's what's usually running through my head.
So when things are really bad, what do you tell yourself, guys? Like when you're like in real pain and you think, oh, this is awful, horrible.
That's when I get desperate, and I'll start singing the most high energy songs that I can think of, or I'll just tell myself, just to the next tree, try to pass that guy. Just all the really desperate kind of stuff, like
I count till I can't count anymore. This is like stupid, but it just distracts my mind because I'm counting steps. So I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just focus on counting, and then once I can't count anymore because I lose my, it's like, where am I? So then I start counting from 1 again till the pain goes away.
Another big one for me is like when I'm at the very last of a race, is like I have to be within 30 minutes of the end, and I'll start telling myself, in a half an hour I'll be eating a piece of pizza. Just keep going, just keep going. The faster I run,
Reward
the sooner
system.
I get my pizza.
And to the beer, I always think about beer. I don't know why, but it doesn't.
I always tell
the
myself that that I can't get to the finish line by standing still.
Yeah, that's a good
If
one.
If I stop here, I can't get to the finish line. The only way is forward. So
right,
that's the only way out of this, is if you keep going.
That's a good one. I like it.
My mantra is get to the next aid station. That's once you get there, there's going to be people that will convince you to move forward, unless you're injured. They'll take care of you, and it's once you get, it's usually a dip or a valley or whatever you want to call it that you're able to overcome. It's at times you just have to work through the issue, just like in normal life. You know, I associate running to life constantly because we're always in training. You know, so in those races when I'm down, it's just like, ugh, let's get to the next aid station. That's all. And once you get there, you could reassess. You know, change gear, eat, drink, have somebody give you a pep talk, smack you around a little bit, like get your shit together, get out there, you know, have all the right. I've been in many situations where I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. And you get to the next aid station and they're like, no, you got hours before the cutoff time. Get your ass out there, you know? And it's like, oh, just get to the next aid station. All right. And you get there and you're like, I'm done. And they're like, no. And you're like, oh.
I love that about like ultra running, the fact that you've got these aid stations along the way, because one thing I can't stand about, you know, marathoning is, you know, like if you're running by yourself and if you don't have a partner or somebody just to kind of get you out of your own head, you can get like you were saying, Susie, you can get deep inside yourself. Sometimes there's some ugly spots in there, and you know, at least at the aid station, you know, in an ultra, you got that fresh perspective every so often to kind of pull you out of that pit.
Yeah, they're energy bumps that you're getting. Yeah, the Eastern States 100 that I did a few years back, there is mile 83 or so was sky top, and you have to climb to get there. And I was really done, and I was very close to not meeting the cutoff for the next upcoming aid station. But when I got there, it was like the legends of like the area that were at there, and like I knew who they were. I've run in group sessions with them before, and like they're like the gods of like ultra running in our area. And they're like, oh, you could do it. You're doing good. What's your name? And I was like, oh, Brian Rosser. And he goes, your Rosser runs. You could do anything. And I was like, oh no. I was like, no, I can't disappoint people that actually like, you know, and I'm like, oh man, they're stuffing grilled cheese in my pocket. You got tons of time. Like, I'm crying and stuff, like whimpering. And they're like, are you injured? I was like, no, I'm mentally done because I was dumb. I didn't do it. I didn't have a pacer or crew that year, which was dumb, but they were there to coach me on, and like I got up and ran to the next aid station. So
and I don't know about you guys, but when I am not feeling well, like when I am really like, oh, I'm tired, I'm like everything hurts. I always think that it's because I haven't eaten enough. I don't know if everybody thinks
that's actually part of it. Yeah,
I need sugar. Yeah,
see, that's awesome, because I remember, Susie, I remember you saying in past, when we've done these Masters of YouTube in the past, that you get really, really hungry on the run.
Oh,
That's amazing to me, because usually by the latter stages of a race, I'm the opposite. I'm just like forcing those gels down just because I know I need the fuel. But if I could just heave it all up, I'd be so happy.
Really?
Paul, on average,
I could eat a hamburger with French fries in the middle of a marathon. Like by mile 20, I could just, if they gave me something, I would just gobble it
Not
up.
a girl.
Amazing to me.
Yeah. My husband always is like, I don't know what you can eat. Like I am like exhausted after a long run. I'm like sweaty and dirty. I'm like, before I do anything, I was like, I need to eat something. Like I'm like this, like open the fridge, and it's like I was training for New York City Marathon.
Bye, Chris.
There was not,
See you later, Chris.
Bye, Chris. There was not enough food in my refrigerator ever. It was like I opened that fridge and it was like getting food out of there. I'm just when I run, if I am like really putting miles, anything more than like 25, 30 miles, I'm always hungry. So that's actually going to be an issue for me for the marathon. I know that at some point,
do you get cravings?
I'm going to be super hungry.
Do you get certain cravings as you're running? Like, do you picture like different food elements in your head? Like, oh, I could really go for a pizza or a hamburger.
No, I picture things around and
You just picture Cookie Monster?
I would eat the grass growing. I scare myself. Like, it's like, how can I be so hungry? Like, you know, your stomach is like because it's empty, like absolutely. It's like, oh my god,
Note to self: bring extra snacks for Susie
Right.
in January.
that's a good one. I am planning on bringing something like a cereal bar or something, because I think it's possible I am going to be super hungry.
Paul, since
We'll see.
you're very statistical and coaching and stuff like that, what's your average gel intake for a marathon? Like, are you
I am going
downing
to take-
10, 15 of them? Are you
no.
per hour? Like how do you guys do it? I don't look at it that type. I eat off of feel and like not hunger pains, but like if I'm feeling hungry, I'm already in a huge deficit. Then I shouldn't be getting to that point. But in later stages of a race, you're famine emotionally, not just hunger wise,
completely. Yeah, it's like
How do you guys do that? Like on like halves and fulls, like do you have like a specific? I'm banging gels like every.
I do 45 minutes. Because if I don't do 45 minutes, I would go through them in the first 10 miles. I actually have to. So yes, I do every 45 minutes, and it depends on when I'm going to reach the next water station. So if I'm going to reach it later, then I do 50. But yeah.
So you're looking at like every 5 miles or so on average for you then? Is that what you're looking at?
Well, I have 7 for this marathon. I have 6 that I'm going to eat during the marathon, and then 1 extra just in case. And then I'm going to have on my person a Cliff Bar or something just in case. So
that's a good idea.
That's what because I do think I'm going to have something that the gel you're not chewing. So I think I'm going to need just to chew something that my stomach takes longer to digest.
I find fueling for a marathon, like I've got it down, Brian, to like, I know what is going to give me the best chance of maintaining speed throughout. And for me, that's 1 gel and heavy caffeine about 15 minutes before the gun goes off.
Okay.
And then every 4 miles, which is like every 24 minutes, 25 minutes in there, is another gel. And then I have Tailwind, which is for a marathon, it's like three water bottles, 3 of the 17-ounce water bottles, with 4 scoops of Tailwind. That's enough to just barely get me enough liquid on a day that's not very hot to get through the marathon. Because I like to drink like 1 ounce every half mile. And then, and like Susie was saying, that's enough to kind of keep the electrolytes and the sugar where I need them to be in order to have a hope of performing the way I want to. But the problem with it, like Susie was saying, is that stuff absorbs into your stomach so fast that there's actually nothing in your stomach. And you that's why, like I when I reach the end, I'm so poisoned with sugar and starch and caffeine that I'm just like bouncing off the walls, and I feel so sick, but my stomach is empty, so there's nothing to puke up.
Do you cushion that like 2 hours or so before the race, and like do you eat like a really good breakfast? Like how do you like pre-fuel? Because like my mistakes for the bigger races is that I don't fuel as well as I should the week leading up to the race, the day or two before the race, and then the morning of the race, I'm freaking out just like everybody else. So like if I could get like, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or a bagel, if I could get something in me, I'm happy that I got something, but like I'm not pre-fueling enough to where when I'm going into the race, I'm almost at a deficit there. That's some of like my biggest issues is the nutritional aspect, because you're playing, a full day to 2 days worth of, working through the problems. If I start out in a problem though, that's why I think nutrition and fuel is like a huge part of like what we do. I don't think anybody truly has it down. So like, I love hearing everybody's perspective on like how your system works, with like just gels or like,
you just hit it
like
on the head. You hit it on the head. And I think that's the reason why, I could tell you what works perfectly for me, but it won't work for anybody else.
I couldn't do that many gels. And Tailwind only works for me for about 20 miles, I found. After that, it actually starts to upset my stomach, and I have to change over to, I changed strictly over to water after the first 15, 20 miles. I do ultras with the Tailwind, and then I go strictly water, and I just fuel off of aid stations and what I bring. So,
Right.
yeah.
What do you do, Heather? I'm curious.
I usually fuel about every 5 miles or so, and I alternate between applesauce and sports beans.
Applesauce, that's what I use
And
too.
then, as far as hydration goes, just whenever I feel the need to hydrate, and I alternate back and forth between water and Tailwind.
Nice. I have actually, because if I know that my mind gets I'm not myself when I'm hungry. Let's put it that way. I get very upset and very
Hangry.
angry, and yeah. So I have actually been training like fasted, like with my tempo, my marathon pace, long runs, fasted, just to feel that moment of like, okay, I could just kill someone right now and eat them. Like, to get me like, okay, this is what I'm going to experience and feel, and this is how to overcome. We'll see if it works. I've done it, not every run, not every tempo run, but I've done it. I did it 4 or 5 times in training. So
I got a question for you, Susie.
Yeah.
Like you said, you've done your long runs fasted just to kind of get used to that in case. But what's ideal for you? What, as far as pre-race meal, when and what is it?
So I like having oats. So I just have oats with a scoop of vanilla protein powder. I just have that, like a cup. If I am going to do a marathon, I eat a little bit more quantity than if I'm just going to do, I don't know, 6 miles or 5 miles. But that's usually what I have for breakfast, like day in, day out.
Good for you.
So for this marathon, things have changed for the better, because I was going to have breakfast at home and then drive all the way to New York City and then get to the beginning of the race. Logistically, New York City is super complicated. So you have to get to the ferry and then take the ferry back, and then they bus you to the start line. And it's just, but now I'm staying over with a friend who graciously offered to host me. So, and she lives right there. So we are going to wake up at 7 a.m. and just have breakfast, which is just fantastic, because then I do start running at 11:20 because of the COVID restrictions. They're spacing the waves. So we're going to have breakfast at 7, and then we'll eat something. We're going to carry something with us for before we start running. So probably banana. I'm thinking banana and a cereal bar or something like that. So.
Yeah, for me, it's always a banana with natural peanut butter, and like I use honey like icing, and I have to have that five full hours before start time, or my stomach doesn't play nice.
So you have to
you'll
eat
get up
5
at like
hours
2 in the morning.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Wow.
Unfortunately, that's the way it goes.
What do you guys do? Like, what's your go-to breakfast?
I do
I'm also
blueberry waffles with peanut butter on it and syrup.
Ooh,
That's
good.
what I eat.
That sounds good.
It's an old stoner
That's good
meal.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also do the oatmeal. I use oatmeal with peanut butter and banana, and then a little bit of honey on top.
Yeah.
And if I don't have that, then usually a bagel with peanut butter.
Nice. I was thinking actually of bringing bagels, but I think they do have bagels at the start, because at the Runners Village, they have Dunkin' Donuts and like, so the key there is, because they're offering so much food and like coffee and everything. What if you eat something there that upsets your stomach? Exactly. So I think I'm just going to have my banana and my Clif Bar, eat that, because I know that works for me. I just don't want to risk it. Something doesn't agree with your stomach, and then you have to stop in every porta potty for the next 26. It's just too much. Yeah. But
that's why in ultras, you don't have porta potties. You have the trail.
The wild.
eat what you can. Yeah, and get it in the system. No, I pregame at home when I'm not like freaking out, and then I still try to force a bagel or something in generically neutral, like that won't upset my my stomach. But once again, that I feel that I under fuel in the beginning. So
Yeah, and there's like, I feel like your body goes through that threshold in which there's no going back. Like you miss that water station and you don't drink water, and it's like, I'm screwed.
I'm screwed.
Like,
Yeah.
you can tell. It's like, oh God, I just messed up myself. Like, yeah.
Yeah, once you get into debt for liquid and for electrolytes, then it's too late. Yeah, there's no catching up in the middle of the race.
Yeah. We have a question from Burbs. Susie and others, do you all listen to music, podcasts, etc. when you're in an official distance race like half or marathon? Thank you all. Who wants to
I'm
answer
curious
first?
about this myself. I don't. I did once. I did one marathon out of my 9 so far that I listened to music, and I'll never do it again. For me, it was too much of a distraction from the sort of the mental checklists that I have to run through to make sure I stay on point. Yeah, I guess that's probably all I have to say about that.
Brian, what did you do?
For halves and fulls, I think my first half marathon I ran with music. A lot of the ones in my area, they don't allow headsets because of safety. But when I did my first half marathon, like 13 miles was ungodly far for me. So like that was just a personal like check off, that I was doing. I don't even know what my official time was. Like it was that far back that I had zero clue about running. I was just running to be an idiot, to run 13 miles. And I listened a lot of, I made my own playlist and I was jamming. I had such a good time. That's why when I finished, I was like, I could do 26 miles. And I've never run a marathon with a headset, but I know in like a lot of ultras, you need a mental distraction, because if you're in the dark from like 9 p.m. to like 5 a.m. or so, your mind is gone. So at times, like, books, audiobooks, podcasts, your favorite playlists, just to keep you awake and motivated to get one step in front of the other. I've found like conga lines of people that, hey, do you mind if I play my music out loud? Yeah, man. I don't care what you listen to, play it. So I've listened to like, Taylor Swift or like Korn or whatever from other people. And you're just happy to have a mental distraction at that point. But that's a different world than what like a half and a full marathon would be. To like what Paul's mentality is like, I think you'd have to be more focused on your living in the moment a lot more within your half and full marathon than you are in like an ultra, because I think you're concentrating more on completing the goal as fast as possible and as efficiently as possible. And with that distraction, you wouldn't be able to actually do that. In the ultras, you want the distraction to keep you from thinking, oh shit, what did I do? I should quit. Like this is dumb. So at times that, and also I know with food deficiencies and stuff like that, especially in ultras, that I get the same thought or song or something that loops in my head, and it becomes like, oh, it just drains you. Like I'm big on TikTok because my kids originally, I'm the adult that was like, oh, TikTok for kids, and then I'm on it and tons of cat videos, hilarious. But like into the thick of it, that was big like a few months ago. And during one of my races, it just repeated in my head. I was like, get out of my head. It was every like bush I went through I'm like, shut up. Like it was, and I was like, and that's, because you're drained, and usually like a nutritional deficiency that like your mind starts to wander then. And so like I started to eat as much as I could. I was microwaving. It was like 100 degrees out then too. But like, music. Yeah. Sometimes on training, but races,
Yeah, on training runs, especially if it's not like a where I don't have a goal time or something, where I'm trying to simulate race situations, then yeah, it's all out the window. Then I answer that question completely differently. Then it's music, podcasts, everything under the sun to keep me distracted. But yeah, usually on race day, I find I just want to be thinking about how to get to that finish line.
Yeah,
exactly, as fast as I can.
Good for you. What do you do, Heather?
Okay, it's funny that you mentioned the whole TikTok thing because that happens to me too. I'll be on a run and I'll be listening to like a podcast or something, but my head's going, castaways, we are castaways. I'm just like, get out.
Yeah.
So, but I think about, oh, I hate this song, but it keeps me running. So, but I do have various playlists that I have set up for various distances. I'm definitely listening to a lot of podcasts. I have a couple of videos up about the podcasts that I listen to while I run, and it's good because I need the distraction. And since when I run a race, if I'm running it by myself, which is 99% of the races that I run, then my brain doesn't want to change up what I've done in practice. And so since I've done all of my training runs with music or podcasts, then I want to do the race with music or podcasts too, because it feels familiar.
Your condition.
And yeah, and I'm still able to just kind of, even if I have music going, I can zone out and just not hear anything, but my brain is still aware that music is going, and which helps distract me from pain, discomfort, anything that could be going wrong, and yet my brain knows enough to wake up. It zaps back into focus at times, and I'll be like, check pace, how's my form? Okay, now back to zoning out. So I've done this enough times now that my brain just kind of goes into automatic pilot when I go into a race situation. And so music, podcasts, anything that's going to distract me. And so since I do it in training, I take it into a race situation as well.
Yeah. I have a playlist that I put together for New York City Marathon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's what I'm going to listen to. However,
Are you sharing your playlist on your channel?
No,
because you're able to. You could on Spotify, I think, right?
I could, yeah. It's probably public. I don't think I restrict anything on Spotify. But I do think sometimes having the option to do it or not do it, it's good because all you have to. I mean, the headphones these days are small, so I'm gonna bring it. If it's a race where there's a lot of stuff going on, like there's a lot of spectators and bands playing and like noise and music, and so it's possible I don't need it. But if I do need it, I'm gonna have the music there just to put my playlist with my songs. And, yeah, and I have it random so that it surprises me, so I don't know what song is coming next.
That helps a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, because for example, in Philadelphia, it's a race that it's not super popular outside of Philadelphia. However, it's a great race. I mean, it's a great marathon. There's bands playing as well, and there's tons of people on the street. I didn't need music till mile 17. But when I reached mile 17, I was so done. I was like, okay. So then I felt like having the music just shielded me from everything else. So I was not paying attention to anything else. I was just like, okay, one foot after the other, just keep going. So with the music, I got through the finish line.
You fell back into a comfort zone.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, it's just me. I'm not paying attention to anything. Whereas if you have distractions, because there's too much going on, I think it's possible. I don't know. I'm just going to bring, I'll have it on my phone. And if I feel like I need it, I'll just play the music. It's possible I play, I actually have 4 hours and 25 minutes of music. So I'm not going to repeat any songs if I finish in the time that I want. So, but yeah, I'll have the music there. And usually for training runs, for my marathon pace training runs, I've been using music. So.
Do you guys?
I've also found something that has helped me in the past is there are apps that you can use, and you can just put your playlist through it, and it will set every song. It'll speed it up or slow it down so that everything is the same beats per minute, so you can match that with your cadence. And so that's one thing that's definitely helped me before.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
I've done Spotify playlists where you look up at 100 70 beats or whatever,
Mhm.
and you find like the genre of music you like, and you know.
The problem with that is that I like listening to the songs that I like. I mean, I like a lot of different kinds of music. So, like my taste is not limited, so I can listen to anything.
Uh-huh.
But when there's a playlist there with like 180 beats per minute, I find that a lot of the songs there is like, what is this song? I don't like this song. So I keep
Oh, that
skipping.
drives me crazy. Yeah, yeah. That drives me
Whereas
nuts
if I
when you get
have
a
the
song you don't
songs
like.
that I like,
Mhm.
I know that, in general, I mean, there's songs that I like better than others, but I'm going to enjoy listening to that. So that app, I'll ask you later, Heather,
Okay.
because I would absolutely. It's just that there's that comfort in knowing the lyrics to the songs and
Yeah. Yeah.
liking the song and maybe bringing something to your mind. Like there's songs I have in my playlist that are for like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, like from the
Mhm.
80s. And it's like, oh, this reminds
Yeah.
me to, I don't know,
Mhm.
that one time I went to the movies with the guy, like, like from high school. I don't know. It just brings happy memories. So
Yeah.
that's
Susie's
part of
pulling
it
out
too.
Thriller while she's running the race.
I actually was this close to adding Thriller. Like, this close. Yeah.
Things that
But
pump you up.
yeah, I mean, it's just songs that make me happy, like songs that I am a person though that I listen to music all the time. I'm working and I'm listening to music. Like if I am like writing something, I'm listening to music. Obviously,
Mhm.
if I am interacting with a client, then not. But if I am working on, I don't know, writing a memo or something, I am listening to music. So
I have music on
Mhm.
almost 24/7 in my
I
house.
have it all. It's like it reaches a point where if I could be blasting music all the time at home, if I
Mhm.
was a single person living alone, I would be blasting music all the time because I
That's
love
what I
listening
do.
to music.
I have Bluetooth speakers in different rooms of the house. So as I walk into them, boom, it pops on. And like I walk around, I do my cooking, then I go somewhere else and boom, pops on. I listen to music. Even when I sleep, I put rain. That's my background noise instead of
That's my
music.
husband. He
Yeah,
has
as a
this
distraction,
noise machine.
Yeah.
I am dead when I'm sleeping. Like you could have a fire in the house, I probably would just sleep through it and be dead. Yeah.
You
So
know
I
what's
don't need
funny?
anything. I don't need anything to sleep.
Talking about like music on all the time. One thing I found in the last like I want to say 6 weeks or so, ever since I got a little deeper into this training cycle, is like when I roll out of bed, the first thing I do is my core routine just to get it out of the way to make sure it gets done. So I'm like completely asleep when I hit the ground, and it's kind of like, okay, time to do sit-ups. And the first thing I do now, I turn off the alarm on the phone and I put on one of those. I don't know if you guys have seen those channels of like West Coast soft piano jazz and stuff like that. And it
Like a
actually
lo-fi type
it
stuff.
take
Yeah.
it takes
Mhm.
like it takes like a live stream off of Spotify and puts it into a YouTube channel for a live stream.
Hmm.
Just oh man, that rocks. It's like it's like I just love that. It's like I'm sitting there listening to whatever, but like some like
I listen
1950s
to
piano.
Japanese lo-fi hip hop.
Oh
That's what
wow.
I listen to,
Mhm.
and it's
I honestly I think
tons
Japan
of
has the best.
violins and
Yeah. Yeah.
mandolins
Oh
and
yeah.
flutes and like a nice lo-fi hip hop beat, and I have that usually playing in the background. As I don't know it, like there's no words or nothing. It's just
Right.
cool beats, and I do all my shit like listen to the lo-fi stuff. I think that's what you're actually talking about. But like, there's a million channels that have that
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
out there.
Yeah,
yeah.
music
It's
is one
just
of the best things in life, guys. To me, I mean,
Mhm.
it just
I
and if you're
agree.
like in a sad mood or something, you play a song that's a little bit, like upbeat and that you like and stuff. And I mean, it's so easy to get you out of that funk. Like if you play the right kind of music, it's like. So yes, I'm bringing my music to the marathon. If I need it, I'm gonna play it. And yeah,
It's funny. The more I think about it, Brian, like I said, I don't like music in the marathon because I feel like that's like maximum effort for me as a runner because I've never gone as far as you. Like for me, marathon is like currently I got to give it every single ounce of mental
Yeah,
and
that's
physical
because you
energy I
go
have.
200% in a marathon.
because he goes so fast.
But
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing is, I was just sitting here thinking about it, and it's like when I ran my half marathon time trial last spring, I had like my phone in the front pocket of my vest, and I was cranking my AC/DC the whole way. And that was because to me, half marathon and down is a short enough race where I don't have to be as tactical. I just gun goes off and you just go,
Yep.
and hopefully you're done. A certain
You're
amount
off
of
of
time
instinct
later.
then. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's just gun it until the end. So the high energy stuff really helps a lot.
When you guys go into races, I go in with mentality. Like I usually, as I said, I don't use crew and pacers, which the next, race I think I'm going to. It's more fun, more enjoyable to have a support staff there to motivate you and to celebrate your wins and losses with. It's always better. But like my mentality, and this is how I am in life as well. I'm sure it portrays a little bit over the social media, YouTube stuff, but I talk a lot. And when I'm out on the trails and stuff like that with people and running in groups, right? I do it here as well. And I see myself and I catch myself a lot. I steamroll a lot of conversations because like I have the same interests as you guys. Like, oh, that's a great story. I have the same story, and I'm really excited to talk about things. So when I go into like races, I go in with the mentality of I don't need a pacer because I have 300-400 people or so. Your races are thousands, I'm sure, that I have a similar interest with. And dudes or chicks, when I'm out there, like it's genderless for me. When I'm as a runner, I go out there and I know we have one thing in common, that we're out here suffering together. So through that common bond, if you're running at my same pace for a little bit, I'm on the trail with you. Like I talk. So like I make friends when I'm out there, and I have a lot of social media friends that I'm actually like good friends with that live in a different part of the country that I've raced 2 separate races with. And we met each other, guys and girls, and became like really good friends with. Do you guys go into the mentality of the open-mindedness of that, or are you extremely focused on the goal and you don't want to be distracted from the other people? Hence, sometimes the music and stuff I could see because that would distract from the surroundings. But the surroundings itself is the distraction for me, including the people, because I either feed them energy or I steal their energy, and we give it back and forth to survive and stuff like that. How do you guys, like, when you go into a race, do you have that mentality of like, let's be friends, or no, I'm here
I
to kill?
talk to everybody. I talk to the person in the porta potty. I talk to this.
Okay.
I take pictures. I ask people to take me pictures of me. Yeah, the music is so I can actually concentrate more. I think otherwise I would be paying attention to like everything.
Okay.
I think so. So the music helps me be in more like in my headspace. I don't think I could do what Paul is saying. Just be in your own. Not for a full marathon, maybe for a 5K, but I don't think I could.
No,
Because I need to just, I don't know, like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I've met 3 people during different marathons that, we had that kind of connection, Brian, where like you get to know them so well, like if you run a certain number of miles with them, just because they're just happen to be going, gunning for the same time as you or whatever. So you spend a lot of time together. And I love that. I've actually, of those 3 people, I still know them. They're still like Facebook friends all these years later. And it's like, we still keep up with each other and encourage each other as we continue to pursue different races. Even if we will never physically be in the same place again, it's just kind of like a soul brother or sister.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, like Susie was kind of saying there, when it gets to the latter stages, then even if I am running with somebody, and it wasn't just true of me, it's not like I was just shutting them out, like, shut up, I don't want to hear anymore or anything. But you kind of the world does close in. It does become more of a tunnel, and you're just stuck in your own head, and you don't really want to hear anything except for you just got to start playing those mental games with yourself to stay distracted.
Yeah, I've never been in a race as an adult, like a cross country and stuff when I was a kid in high school and track and things like that. Like I had school records and I was captain of stuff. Like I was on point with stuff. I was determined, like I had that fire in my eye. Like I'm going to kill it. I'm going to win. Now it's like, yay, let's go and have fun and like do some stupid stuff, and like I go to races. Yeah, I go to races. I want to do my best, and like I've probably been training for a year. I really want to do well, but like I'm never going to get first place in like these type of events. So I'm going for the moment, and the experience, and the adventure type stuff. But still, I still have that determined, focused kid in me that wants to be like awesome. But on the realism of an adult, it's like, you can still be awesome and have a really good time and, do what you have to and suffer through it and smile at the end,
Absolutely. And I think it's a much healthier attitude to have towards racing.
There you go. That's a good one.
And every race is different too. Like you can have different goals for, like every race has a different appeal. I think, like you could. Like
I don't think I'll talk to anybody on a half marathon. I think I would actually if I ran a half, I would go and I would run it.
And you're fast, Ryan. I mean, I've run with you, and I was like, okay,
I was fast in the day.
I can't talk. And
yeah, Pop put me in check when he's like, I'm running 6 minute, half 6 minute half marathons, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. maybe back in the day, I was definitely able to do that, but not now.
That's the wheels would come off. Marathon coming up. I just want to finish. I haven't finished the marathon. I just want to finish.
It's November
21st.
Okay.
Awesome.
So it's coming up.
So it's going to be Susie runs hers. Then you're going to be the weekend after that?
No, mine is now. It's Sunday.
Hers is this weekend. Yeah.
Okay. So then 2 weeks later, and then 2 weeks after you is I go. So
right.
I'll be on the couch. I'll watch you guys. I'll be eating a bag of chips.
Also, everybody, you can download the NYC Marathon app and you can follow Susie. So you can see what she's doing.
25057. That's my bib number. So I can't wait to run this. I'm I watch videos from the New York City Marathon, and this is really stupid and childish, but I cry. I get so emotional.
I cry at so many any running videos Ginger Runner or Billy Yang and stuff like that I watch that all that stuff with Sally McRae and my wife makes fun of me really bad. She won't watch any of those videos because I cry. I get real emotional. You get really, you can empathize everything that they're doing. You want them to be doing good when they're suffering. You're suffering. When their crew and everything is tearing up, they're gonna do it. You're like, they're gonna do it. I get so emotional on that stuff.
You've been there. I watched this morning. There's a clip on the New York Road Runners YouTube channel from Shalane Flanagan crossing the finish line. When that moment when she says, "Fuck yeah!" It's I start crying. It's
that is so weird. I watched that this morning. I watched that one this morning.
Yeah.
It's just so oh wow, I don't know. I'm
the last time I cried watching racing videos was I don't know. It was sometime earlier this week. Did you guys watch Letessenbet Gidey break the women's half marathon record?
I've seen bits and pieces, but not.
The whole race is on YouTube now. It's just
it's
cool. Beautiful.
She was super fast. I mean, again, I didn't see the whole thing, but she's a beast. I mean,
she did it in 63 minutes. 63 minutes and change. Just
good grief.
She's
she's
a monster.
She's a monster. She's strong. Yeah, I think she's gonna be one of those people who really, unless she gets injured or something. Yeah.
When she decides to move on to the marathon, she's going to wreck it. I mean, she's unbelievable. She's got the world 5K record, the world 10K, the half marathon, and cross country. Right now, she owns all of them.
She's a beast. I mean, you see her running, and she's
And my favorite part is she's 22 years old. She's got at least a dozen years to get better. So
I wish I ran when I was in my 20s. I ran in the military, but that was because I was told to.
It's a punishment. Running for a lot of us is a punishment.
That's why a lot of people have negative tendencies towards running, because if you were ever something happened, go run a lap. That was a punishment. So that was negative reinforcement.
But if you think about it, the kids, when the kids are young, they're they're playing together, they all run and follow each other. One of them runs and all the other ones follow them. It's because it's fun. They're just running around in circles, and it's a fun thing to do. I think we lose as we grow up, because of school, and again because it's a punishment, we
We
lose
lose
that
the innocence
excitement.
of
Yeah,
running.
but
Yeah.
running is the like after my son, for example, he never walked. I always joke that he crawled and then stood up and started running. He never really walked. He just missed that step. He could not stop himself either. Like he would bang into things. And so, I mean, it's running, and you can see the little kids. They get that runner's high. It's like they're so happy. That's the way that it should be. So.
Yeah, we have a lot of kids in our area that actually are younger, that are running like halves and fulls now, that are like teenagers or even younger. Like that wasn't even thought of like when I was younger. Like cross country, 3 miles, like that was really far, So to run 13 or 26 as a kid, they definitely, kids are probably better than we are. We just have a limitation on them that we, don't that we put on them. You tell a kid, hey, we're going to run this race. They'll be like, okay, you don't even have to tell them the distance, and they'll finish it,
Right.
And you
Just
train for
cross the finish
10
line.
years.
Yeah,
Because they don't know any better,
And they say that kids have perfect form. There's like there's a certain age at which you lose that perfect form. You start walking.
Wonder how cell phones is affecting that form. Because I bet you actually humans, right? I bet you humans right now are slowly devolving in certain aspects of that. Yeah, and they're more hunched over and stuff like that. I bet you, like that actually probably is a statistic.
Do you ever see that poster of like that famous poster of ape becoming
the evolution
man?
of man?
Yeah,
evolution of man. That's
the,
what it's called.
The new one is where you go and they're standing straight up, and now with cell phones we're going back down
until we plug in.
Well, guys, we're over time right now, so we're gonna wrap it up, and let's go the other way around. So let's start with Paul, okay. Then Heather, then Brian.
Cool. What are we talking about?
Where can we find you?
Just wrap it up and say,
I'm happy to talk. I just need to know.
Point me in a direction. That's great.
We're just wrapping it up. So where can we find you?
You can find me at DevRunner on YouTube, the DevRunner on Instagram, and as I said, Paul DeVillo on Strava, and all kinds of fun stuff going on. I'm working towards a marathon on December 11th. And talking about it every week on there. And I'm beginning to resume subscriber spotlights. So you get the opportunity to meet a lot of new people who are new to the running community on YouTube. So check it out. Thank you.
And I am Running Geek Girl, and I'm Running Geek Girl on YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. So you can find me all those places, just Running Geek Girl. And again, a lot of my stuff is just fun information for a lot of people who are, kind of getting into running or getting back into running. Got lots of information and some geeky little things in there, like my RGG book club, where I look at books about running, and Run the USA is another series I have going on right now, where I am looking at the most recommended races in every state at every distance. So stick around, because I'm going to have some more stuff leading into the Little Rock Marathon.
Very nice.
I'm Brian from Rosser Runs. I do the ultra stuff. I'm Rosser Runs on Facebook, IG, TikTok, Strava. I'm just Rosser Runs across the board there. I look at running, tech, and adventure, and I would say towards the end of this month, I will be hopping back into the stream of things pretty hardcore. I just moved, new location. Life is all crazy, so I'm just mentally and physically healing. And then we'll be moving forward a little bit more towards the end of this month. But yeah, check me out on all those things. I still post tons of photos and stuff as I go along. So yeah, thank you.
Nice. And me, I run things everywhere. But I am on Instagram. I'm Real I Run Things, as well as on Twitter. But if anybody puts on Google I Run Things, I pop up. I own. I actually did this like recently. It's like, what does we put I run things? I pop up, so you'll find me anywhere. Great, guys. This was a great conversation.
Yeah, I had a good
love
time.
you.
Good setup. So
I miss you because I missed the last couple of live streams. So yeah, I miss chatting with you guys and seeing your faces.
it keeps me straight. I'm glad we do this. So
Definitely.
I know. Yeah.
otherwise I'd be sleeping now.
I'm gonna go have dinner because my husband brought pizza. So
Yeah.
Oh man.
he probably ate it all. No, I'm sure they let me.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thanks all the
Yeah, we got a lot of
people
people,
watching
a
today.
lot of good comments. Thank
Hey,
you.
India.
Thanks, everybody. Bye
Have a good
bye.
one. Good night.
Bye.